Well, what a load of rubbish that was. 4-2 against West Brom, 4-2 in the game before, but I'm not here to do a match analysis. We did that last night on the review, and it wasn't pretty, to be honest with you. It was hard to be analytical. It was all very fresh and very raw after the game, so I thought I'd sleep on it overnight and then do a sort of analyse what happened and then do a little bit of a video there. But having slept on it, in all honesty, it doesn't seem an awful lot better today than it did yesterday. So I just really want to talk through a few things, chew over what's been happening, what's been going wrong, what we can do going forward, so as I can get all your views, which hopefully you can all post underneath or wherever you're watching this, and maybe try and put a little team together and look at what we can do in the next game. I say the next game, I'm meaning Southampton game. Accrington Stanley's next. I don't want to get into the cup at the moment. There'll be a review up for that, but I don't want to get into whether the second string is going to play. We've got enough worries with our starting lineup at the moment without worrying about Gurkantora or anybody of that ilk. So let's just deal with the matter in hand. The matter in hand is the Premier League. We're in a run of fixtures which we thought were going to be easy. Yeah, next one, Southampton. Then we've got Middlesbrough. We thought Watford and West Brom were going to be easy. Let's face it, none of these fixtures are easy, and I think the reason is because the rest of the Premier League have improved and we haven't. I'll get into that in just a second. I don't want to go mad on relegation. Are there three worse teams than us in the league? There probably are, so I don't really want to talk about it. It's far too early. It's also far too early to talk about Bilic's job. He's earned the right last season to have a crack at it, but I do think he's coming under pressure. And whilst I don't think we should talk about him losing his job or anything like that, I think questions have to be asked of him tactically, and I would hope that he would be asking those questions of himself. Back on to the Premier League improving. I've just seen James Tompkins. It's half-time at the Crystal Palace match. James Tompkins has just scored for him. It's like a dagger in the heart. Our defence is a complete mishmash at the moment, and Tompkins is looking solid for them. In all honesty, I don't know how it ever happened that he was allowed to leave the club. West Ham, through the academy, clearly Premier League standard, when, let's be perfectly honest, there are a few at the club at the moment who aren't Premier League standard. Palace are a good example. They've really improved on their first team last season. There's no doubt about it. They might have sold Balassi, but Townsend's come in and given them another winger. Zaha looks good. They got Cabaye in the middle. They've bought Benteke. They've spent the money where we wouldn't spend it. The money was a bit rich for us for Benteke, but they've spent the money and they seem to have a Premier League striker who's going to score goals for them this season. And of course they bought Tompkins. But it's not just Palace. I look around the league. Watched Everton play at the weekend. They've brought Koeman in. He's really got them playing some nice stuff. They managed to keep hold of their best players. They've brought in a few as well. They just look better. Liverpool look absolutely sensational. I mean, those top 7 placings, you're just not going to get a sniff this season because they're just all looking so good. Chelsea are better. Man U, all right, they've lost to Watford today, but you'd imagine they'd do better than they did last season. City look untouchable. Even Arsenal have bought well, and you can even look at teams like Middlesbrough who have come up and they've actually bought quite well. I don't think we've moved forward as a team since last season. I think we've padded the squad out, and we padded the squad out to facilitate a European campaign, which has not happened because we didn't do it against Astra, and nor should we do it against Astra. We played Astra 4 times in the past 2 seasons, and we haven't got through against them, so there's no point saying we're good. Statistically, we're worse than Astra. So that's really that. So we build all this squad up for a European campaign. We haven't got one. It's like someone's given us 100 quid and we've gone out to Lidl's or the 99p shop and bought 100 items. We'd actually have been better off going to Harrods and buying 2 items for 50 quid. That would have improved the team. I would hope that there are young players in the development squad that were really comparable to players like Nordveit and people like, I don't know why we're spending, he was free, but why we spend money on wages bringing players like that in. We should just... Batshuayi was too pricey for us. Lacazette, they quoted 42 million. All right, he's broken his leg now, but he still looked... If that's who we honestly wanted, we should have just gone out and got them. It's no good boasting to one and all that we've spent 60 million, because we've just spent a little bit here and a little bit there, and it's done nothing. Because if you make out our first 11 on paper, there aren't many who are going to get in above last year's players. The only one you would possibly say would be Arbeloa, and we don't know that yet because we've not even seen the bloke play. Let's be honest with you, we just know he's probably better than Byram, and he's certainly better than Antonio at right back. The other thing we don't know is we've got Zaza up front. Now, if he plays 15 games, it triggers a £24 million clause that we have to pay to Juventus. I think we really need to start looking at that. But I ask you the question now, does Zaza, again, leave the comments down below, does Zaza look better than Diafra Sakho? Does he look better than Andy Carroll? I can't think how that can be true when I'm watching it, thinking, oh, do you know what I really want is Ashley Fletcher to come on, who was on loan at Barnsley last season, I think. So, again, that really can't be right at all. The other thing that I think is probably worth considering is the club's in turmoil at the moment, in absolute turmoil. It's in turmoil on the pitch and it's in turmoil off the pitch. And this wasn't really the dream that was being sold. And it's not just us. I don't think the owners want this. If some people think the owners are going to stay forever, some people think the owners are going to want to sell up and leave at some point. Well, if it is the latter, I can tell you now, the share price of West Ham is plummeting at the moment. If they were thinking of selling up, they'd probably been thinking, we'll get into the Olympic Stadium, we'll have a good season, the team will crack on from last season, the fans will come in, it'll all be lovely, we have glory for the first season, then we sell up to a rich Chinese owner or Russian owner or something like that, and we get 500 million. Well, at the moment, as I say, you'd be lucky to get anything like that, because you'd look at West Ham and you'd think, well, actually, I've got to sort the stuff in the stadium out. The stadium needs, well, it doesn't just need stewarding work, the stadium needs building work to make it up to Premier League standards. And also, the squad needs work. Now, if the boast is that we've spent 60 odd million, then it's a slight worry, because it may well be that that 60 odd million is starting to look a little bit wasted for the reasons that I said earlier. So I think everyone else improved. I think we have stood still, and we'll go on to my team in just a second, but I just really think that we need to start looking at what is going wrong in the team, and as I say, I hope Slaven is certainly looking to do the same. The problems are clearly in defence. We shouldn't be in a situation where we have the top goal scorer in the league and a guy in Payet who has come back, who's had 2 starts and got 4 assists. That in itself, even at a schoolboy level, you should be able to say, we are almost guaranteed 1 or 2 goals in every game. All you have to do is devise a strategy then to make sure that they can still create and keep it shut up at the back. Now, my little team, and I've actually written it down on a piece of paper here, my little team, I'm not necessarily it's the answer, but I just think we should go back to something very, very basic. I think we should have a back 4, and we should have someone holding in front of it, and I think we need to, as I say, keep the threat of Antonio and keep the threat of Payet up the top at some point. Now, you might disagree. If you do, please, don't just disagree. Disagree and put your team. Disagree and say what you think, or agree. You might not. It's a weird team anyway. But it's 4-4-2 more or less, but it's back to basics. Now, I'll just deal with each player in turn, if I may, and I'll try and put a graphic up on screen as well once I edit it afterwards. I'm going for Randolph in goal. It's clear. 8 goals in the last 2 games. Even if you think Adrian is the better keeper, he may be, he might not be. I think they're a very, very comparable standard. He could do with taking out the firing line, and that's too many goals for anyone. So let's get Randolph in there and see if he can do any better. I've gone for a back 4. Arbeloa. I don't care if he's not match fit. Rumour has it he's a triathlete. He's a competing triathlete. You know, those guys are running, cycling and swimming. Let's just stick him in there. Even a 3/4 match fit Arbeloa, I would imagine, bearing in mind he's been playing for Real Madrid for the past few years, has got to be better than Nordveit in there, or Byram in there. Byram needs taken out the firing line. He has been. I mean, there was a question that he might have been injured or picked up a knock for the last game. I don't think he was. I think he was taken out the firing line. I think clearly Bilic has got a bit of a problem at right back. The fact that he thought Antonio could play there for so long is a slight worry, but he had to learn his lesson the harsh way to get him out. So Arbeloa goes at right back. Reed, on the proviso that he's fit, Reed goes in there. Not all of these players have become crap overnight, I've got to say. There has to be a bigger picture here, and I'm pretty sure it's something on the training pitch or something tactically. Now, that's something we as fans don't get to see and we don't really know anything about. We can only sort of pick our team. But what I think is this back four are going to need protection. So I've got Reed there and I've got Ogbonna there. Why not? We've got a right footer and a left footer, and they are excellent players. We know they are both excellent players. Had Tompkins still been at the club, I'd have had Tompkins and Ogbonna in there. He's not. He's gone. There's nothing we can do about it now. Masuaku gets in at left back for two very good reasons. Number one, he is the only left back that we have. Now, it's worth remembering with Masuaku that he's had one poor game. So I don't particularly want to jump on his back, and it seems like the incompetence that spread throughout the rest of the team has become infectious, and it affected him. He lost his head in that last game. But the thing to bear in mind of him, he wasn't our first choice left back. In the same way that Zaza wasn't our first choice striker, we wanted Brady first, and after that we wanted Robertson. We thought that 7 odd million was a little bit rich to pay. I think, we wanted to pay 7 million, and I think we were quoted 10 or 12, and we thought that was a little bit rich to pay for a backup left back. So there you go. He was our first choice. You get what you get, as I say. You shop in the bargain basement, and you cannot complain. So we've gone for quantity this season over quality. So I played Masuaku on left back. We don't have another one, and he deserves the chance. Now, if you imagine that this is a flat four, again, I'll put it up in the graphic and you'll see that anyway. Antonio right wing, it's not even, doesn't even need discussing, does it? You know, he's fantastic. You know, well done, Antonio. He's a bright spark in what has been quite a dark start to the season. Now, I've put Reece Oxford in central midfield purely to guard that back four. He's a centre-back by trade, but he's a big tall lad. He can win headers. And let's be perfectly honest with you, if Reece Oxford cannot get into the West Ham team as it is at the moment, no wonder he won't sign a new contract, because he's probably thinking, if I can't get into that West Ham team now, if I can't get in when we're playing terribly, I'll never get in, even if we're playing well. So I would play him in front of the back four with his singular instruction to be protect that back four. Don't let anyone get in. I'm in the sort of way that maybe Kante might have done for Leicester last season and Chelsea this season. I'd play Kiate next to him for the same reason again. I just want another tall guy there for set plays and set pieces. Oxford's there because Kiate has been known to wander. I don't expect any creativity from that central midfield, and that's the truth, because I just think we need to keep a clean sheet. On the left-hand side of midfield, I've gone with Manuel Lanzini, and for very good reason. I think he needs to be in the team for his creativity, and I didn't really want to put Payet there. Payet is not really tracking back as he should. Now, I don't care. I'm not going to start beating up Payet for the fact he doesn't track back. Do you know what? He's creating all the goals. Why should he? Let's leave him up top. But Lanzini works a little bit harder. We need his creativity. I'm putting him on the left. Now, as I was looking to do this squad, I realised quite how lopsided the squad was. It's absolutely unbelievable that we've got a left-footed winger in Torre, and he's just not up to the desired standard that I could even consider starting him in a Premier League game. So Lanzini is going in there. Now, I'm playing Payet up, and the reason I'm playing him up is I don't want to give him any defensive responsibilities at all. He'll naturally drop deeper and make a second man in midfield when we haven't got the ball, because that's where he'll want to attack from. But I'm almost giving him a free role, and I want him to get close to the other the other player that I've picked, which is Fletcher. Now, if Carroll was fit, I would play Carroll there. Zaza has not shown himself to be very good so far this season, and I do think he was isolated slightly in the last game, and maybe the temptation would have been to play Fletcher alongside Zaza, but by doing that you're leaving Lanzini or Payet out of the team. It's just not something I'm prepared to do, because Zaza is not shown anywhere near enough form to warrant kicking Payet or Lanzini out of that team. The only one that has shown me any sort of quality is Fletcher. So I'm going to go with Fletcher. He's tall, he's 6'5", 6'6", and bearing in mind the team can't seem to help lumping it into the box, we might as well have a tall guy in there that can head it anyway. It's a big team, it's a physically imposing team in the main, but that's really what I would be going for in the next game. I think Sacco can't come back quickly enough, regardless of attitude. Even a Sacco with poor attitude is certainly better than what we've got already. And if you're wondering why I haven't put Caleri in there, again, I'm not impressed. Not everyone, but some people were complaining at the start of the season when we signed him on loan that it wasn't a loan with a view to purchase. I think there were some rumours that he could have gone to us or gone to Barcelona. I've got to laugh. I don't think we've got anything to worry about. I think if we wanted to sign Caleri at the end of this deal, we'd be able to get him without any competition at all. And I can pretty much guarantee that that fella will not be ending up at Barcelona. So this sort of goes back to what I said. I don't think anyone is really improving on what we had on what we had last season, because I still think that Sacco and Carroll are the best strikers in our squad, even after all that. So that's what I'm going with. As I say, let me know your comments on it. It's about as positive as I can be, really, fellas, but that's my analysis of the situation. The reality is it's going to need to be sorted out on a training pitch, because if we don't beat Southampton, even worse, if we lose to Southampton, then things are going to get very, very, very ugly indeed. And you do not want to be in that position. It's going to start getting in the players' minds, and it just doesn't bear thinking about. And if we do, what I don't want to do is be facing that Middlesbrough team who look okay, with our team totally shot of any sort of confidence. Right, that's it for me. Let me know what you think. Until next time, hopefully the next video will be a little bit more positive.